Is your plan this summer to get better at English? Are you going to travel overseas and really embrace the atmosphere of being overseas to get better at English? Well, hey, there's some things that you got to be careful of when you're out there. So me and Adam have a few tips so you get the best out of your trip. Hey everyone, welcome back to another, this is my first time in America kind of episode. We're the hosts. My name is MJ.
My name is Adam.
And we welcome you to join us, your two friends, native English speaking friends, to improve your English and immersion that you are working so hard on. Because hey, learning English is really difficult. Going to a language school and learning is pretty difficult, but hey, you have a teacher. But when you are doing this by yourself, all just you, focusing, honing in on your skills and trying to get better with English while you're juggling with work and the family and all these different pressures of the world, but you're still working on your English. Just want to say, good job. Keep it going. Everyone, we're going to be giving you some tips of how to take advantage of the times that you have spending overseas. Okay. If you are getting ready for like a work abroad or study abroad kind of program, it's really, really awesome. It's a very impactful situation that you can have and a really great experience that you can have for, of course, for your English, but also just personally for your personal growth, right? It's really good to travel outside of the country that you grew up in and experience different things and meet new people, and traveling overseas is a great way to do that. But everyone, me and Adam have talked with many people who have grown up and lived in Japan and traveled overseas. They came back to Japan. They're like, oh yeah, I did my working holiday, but I don't feel like I really got that much better with English. Or, oh, I had like, 2 months overseas in the US, but I don't think I really got better or I improved when I was there. And there were a few red flags that me and Adam heard about that people would do, and maybe you would do too, without really thinking about it. So we want to help everyone out right now.
That's right.
So one thing I think everybody has is a smartphone.
Yeah.
You're traveling around, you have the smartphone that tells you so many things. It tells you what signs mean, the translation of those signs. It helps you translate voice, and if someone's talking to you, it can translate that. Or maybe you're lost, you don't know where to go, and it can show you the way in your language. Very helpful, yes.
Very
but
true.
If your goal is to get better with English, you need to experience the English firsthand. You need to speak English. You need to hear English. You need to make mistakes in English.
That's right.
So this is a massive tip for everyone where it may be difficult to do, but keep the technology usage, the amount of time that you use your smartphone, keep it to a minimum as much as possible. If you're lost, you don't know how to get to the train station, ask somebody.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. It's people who've been watching our show for a long time. Maybe you remember the episode where I finally switched over and got a smartphone. If I was in a situation where I needed to catch a train, I didn't know where the station was, I was lost on the platforms, traveling somewhere, I would force myself to speak to somebody, an actual person, instead of just looking it up on my phone.
Yeah.
And that's why I kept this Gattaca with me for such a long time. And it gave me the opportunity. It pushed me, because I'm a very lazy person, if you didn't know. It pushed me to be not lazy and to ask somebody. And I feel like this is a really important thing. If you're traveling overseas, do this.
Yeah. I think it's the one thing that is, of course, it's making our lives easier, but at the same time, with it, we're not pushing ourselves to get better at certain things because the answers just come to us so easily. Where do I want to go? Let's go here. Here's the directions. I don't need to ask anybody. It's like your environment has changed outside, but within your own circle, your own personal space, it hasn't changed because you have the translator. You're not really communicating in another language. You're not interacting in another language.
You're taking away the amount of experience that you can have speaking in the language by using your phone to get around.
Exactly.
Okay. Of course, yes, it is convenient, but hey, we lived generations before all this smartphones, all this internet technology. Me and Adam grew up when it was like the internet was a very small
Yeah,
thing,
a little
and
baby.
you had to know how to get
Yeah.
around, and you had to stop and figure out like, oh, am I going this? Is this the right way to go to this
Mm.
place? Am I going in the right direction? And that just gave us personal experience.
Right.
Everyone's so busy nowadays. You have your hobbies to take care of, your children and your families to take care of, hanging out with your social friends, your work you have to focus on, or maybe it's just that zangyo you're doing every day that makes you feel totally tired at the end of the day. You might think you need like an hour or more every day of speaking English to improve. Well, here's the thing. A lot of us don't have that much time in our day to focus only on English conversation. So lucky for you, I'm offering free trial sessions on my online lessons. One-on-one with me to improve your English conversation. And the shortest time that we can do a session is just in 10 minutes. Perfect for the everyday busy person. Now, 10 minutes you might think is too short, but let me tell you, if you do lessons every day for an entire month, your confidence and how you feel about English conversation is going to change. So if you're a really busy person and think there's no time for your English, give it a try. Click the link down below and book a session with me for free to see what it's like. Hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah.
In our life.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's really important.
But that goes on to another point about comfort. Like comfort and comfort food is very good to have, but sometimes it's good to be uncomfortable. So when you're outside of, your hometown, your home country, it's going to be uncomfortable, but that discomfort means being uncomfortable is something that's going to help you to grow because your way of life is changing and it's going to kind of make you evolve into a different person by experiencing things and having these little minor troubles and then getting past the troubles and growing from those experiences.
Yeah.
So it's good to be uncomfortable sometimes.
And it's good to try those things that can be not so great. If we're talking about comfort food, food that you had in your hometown, trying something different, you might find something that is amazing, better than anything you've had before. Or maybe the opposite. You're going to find something that is disgusting. You really do not like.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a great experience to have,
Right.
right? That's a story that you're going to remember when you go back and you're like, how was it? Like, oh, it was pretty good. But man, this one food that I tried, it was crazy bad. But then that turns into a story that you can talk about, an experience that you can have.
Yeah.
So being uncomfortable, I think this is going to be like an underlying theme within this whole conversation we're having right now, everybody, of being uncomfortable and stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Zone 2.
The comfort zone.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go into a topic that I've heard so many people talk about. They've traveled overseas. They went for one, working holiday, and they found themselves hanging with the other people who are also there on a working holiday, who have also traveled to this new country of Canada or Australia, New Zealand. And you're in the same area, maybe the same dormitory, or you're living the same kind of spot where people from Italy and Spain and Korea are all here, and you're all wanting to study English. Well, I mean, which is great, right?
Yeah, it's
super cool to have that support team, but people tend to stay in that comfort zone. You are with people that you just met, you've learned who they are, you became friends, which is awesome. But if your goal is to get better at English, speaking with other people who are also practicing and learning will not give you the greatest amount of experience points that you can get. XP if you're a gamer, okay? The best experience points is to go out and speak with the local people.
Yeah.
All right, maybe in Japanese we say native, but the locals.
Yeah.
All right? The people who are from that country, the people who are speaking that language, which is their mother tongue, and that's the most experience you're going to get. Listening to natural English and speaking it as much as possible.
Exactly. I can't say it any better than that. Even for me, myself, and for MJ, we moved to Japan. That is probably the most influential way we learned how to speak Japanese. It was the biggest push for us was to speak with the locals. For me, I'm going to speak for myself. It's probably the main way that I learned how to speak Japanese. Even though I went to class and I learned, kanji and hiragana, katakana in the class, I learned the basic, Japanese, introducing myself. The conversation aspect I learned was from conversing with the people, the locals in Japan. I met people that I didn't know and I learned about them. We spoke little by little. I got to know them, not in the same day, but we ended up exchanging information,
Mm-hmm.
details, going to different restaurants and going here and going there and meeting other people. And then we're talking. And little by little, step by step, not all at once, little by little,
Mm.
I was able to speak more and more. Yeah.
One point where I think is a big thing, where is you are flying solo. You're doing these things by yourself. So,
Yeah.
example, everyone, as I mentioned before, imagine you are overseas and you're with your group of like five other people who are there studying English, and you go out to a club or you go out to a bar. I'm going to say this isn't such a great thing to do. If you're together, you're going to stick with each other
True.
and you're going to meet a few people in here and there, which is cool. But I feel like you can have a more rich experience um, by doing this solo. So, for example, I would suggest for everyone, you could go to the club and go to that bar together with your group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're there, have a certain time, maybe like an hour, hour and a half or something, where you're like, let's split up and just pretend we don't know each other and just like walk around
Yeah.
this bar,
Yeah.
try to talk to other people, and then we can come back together and like kind of, talk about what
Our
we learned, or
experience.
maybe
Yeah.
then we can connect after the
Yeah.
fact. But flying solo, doing those things by yourself really puts you in a spot where you are, I don't know, maybe easier to be approached by people.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, please be careful with this because
Yes.
when you're out overseas, you can get both good, awesome people and people who are wanting to do something bad or,
Yeah. Yeah.
baddies. So be cautious, be careful, have that street smarts on you. But I found for me, whenever I traveled around in Japan when I first moved here, like I did so many things by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring a friend with me who was like, I don't know, a friend, like an American friend from my language school that we were going together with. I didn't have a Japanese friend come with me. I'm like, I'm gonna go to this bar or I'm gonna go to this like concert by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like I didn't have a choice because nobody wanted to go to the sh kind of music I wanted to go watch.
You cheated a little
Maybe I cheated.
bit.
But so that gave me like a place to just really like meet people.
Yeah.
Like no other like fallback. It's like you have to go forward. You can't run away.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another thing that pushed me in a good way to speak more, to be more outgoing. And then in results, I feel, helped me with my listening of Japanese, my comprehension, my understanding, as well as speaking, the conversation side of it too.
Yeah.
So go out there, everyone. But hey, maybe on the other side of it, you're someone who is going there already by yourself. And you're really shy and you're still like, I'm not sure how I can speak to these people. Got another point for you, Adam.
Yeah, I was gonna also add to that because the one thing that maybe if you are shy and you have difficulty just putting yourself out there, opening up to people, you can go to those bars or go to the cafes and just sit down and, enjoy the environment, look around, see how people
Mm,
are interacting with each other, how they're laughing with each other, how their
yeah.
facial expressions are, how their hand and body gestures are, and see what kind of things that are interesting for those people in the conversation. Try to
Hmm.
figure out what they're talking about by just the way they're communicating with each other. If someone is, moving their arms really quickly, maybe they're angry or frustrated. You can always imagine what someone is thinking by the way they're moving or the way their face looks. Whereas in Japan, people aren't so open like with the hand gestures or facial
Hmm.
movements, facial expressions. So you can try to
Mm.
learn from that because that is also different from your own culture and your own lifestyle.
Some people might call this eavesdropping, but in New
Yes.
York City, where I would go a lot when I was growing up, we would like to call this people watching.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
you're not going in to like learn some secret information from others, from strangers, but people watching, because when you're out there and you're just watching the different types of people that are around, you can learn something about that society, about that culture, about that town, about that city. So this is really an interesting thing where it's, a little more passive, maybe not so active in your conversation and speaking with people, but maybe it can help you feel like, oh, okay, I understand the kind of people that look like that, maybe, or the people who speak like this is someone who I want to kind of approach. Maybe I can ask a question to. I feel like a lot of people, example, find it's easier, maybe more open to talk with elderly people, or like kids. If you have a pet, if you see a dog, someone's walking a dog and they're nice and be like, oh, look at that dog, like that's a great time to have a conversation, quick one, really fast, short. And I feel like as you're talking to strangers, you're going to get really good at this small talk and at talking with people where there's no introduction, there's no where you're from, no all this jibba jabba kind of stuff, but just true human to human conversation interaction.
That's so true. Small talk is another big one that maybe we'll have to do in another episode. But
so let us know what you think about this topic, everyone. Hey, if you're someone who's traveled overseas, or you agree with some of these things and you want to share some information that you had with your experience traveling overseas, let us know in the comments below. Share that. And hey, we'll hope to see you
on the next
step.
because that's it, everyone.